Mr. Carro, what is the story of your early association with Lee Oswald?
Well, actually, my involvement in the case is that I happened to be the probation officer who was assigned to make an investigation and report when this boy was first brought into the Domestic Relations Court Children's Division here in New York. He was brought in, as you know, because he had been truanting from school. He had been absent 47 days from a period from October till January, and the mother had just moved at the time, and she had to have the boy go to another school, and he had not bothered to report. So that the Attendance Bureau from the Board of Education actually referred the matter to the court, and the court took the case under consideration.
And did you from then on have a chance to get to know him a little bit better?
Well, yes. Actually, what an investigation report means is that a boy is brought before the court on a charge. This is a children's court, and the judge, in order to make a final disposition of the case, wants to have as much information as to the boy's background, his school, his life, the parents, the home situation as possible, so that he's in a position to recommend what should be done with this particular boy. Now, in doing the investigation, I naturally had to speak to the mother. I had to go out to the home. I had to speak to the boy and go into not only the reason that brought him before the court, but I'll go into his life altogether as to what his likes and dislikes, his relationship to his parents, to other people, and going to get about as complete a picture as possible of the boy.
And what impression did you form of him?
Well, actually, in line with my own interviews and knowing the boy, we had a psychiatric study and a social study, and my own impression, even before the studies were done, is that this boy was in a potentially dangerous situation insofar as he was only 13 years of age and he was not attending school at all. This in itself is not that significant, except that in lieu of attending school, he was seemingly withdrawing from society and from people that he didn't want to mix with other boys his age. He didn't want to mix with people. He didn't want to relate to anyone. All he wanted to do was just remain home and watch television, and this is what his day would normally consist of. He would begin watching television from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And to me, this seemed unnatural and abnormal, and that he was really not speaking to anybody. He was just actually living in a world of fantasy, or just an illusory world.
Was he basically intelligent?
Yes, I believe he was. I think he was a basically intelligent boy, because despite the fact that he had not gone to school for almost a term and that he'd been out, he tested fairly well on the psychological examinations that were given him, and he was not appreciably behind or retarded. He struck me, and furthermore, from my conversations with him, he did not strike me as a retarded boy. He seemed to respond quite well, and he seemed to have the normal interest that a boy his age would have.
Were you able to get him to open up in any way?
Yes, well, he opened up, I think, about matters that he wanted to discuss, and he would be guarded about matters that he didn't want to discuss. He was not a hard boy to get to converse with, if this is what you mean. He spoke, he was fairly direct and verbal, and he did answer whatever you asked him, and I found I had no great difficulty in actually communicating with him.
After the investigation which you carried out in the psychiatric tests, what happened to him?
Well, it was, from my own investigation, I felt that the situation was a poor one at home, to say the least. The mother was busily employed. She seemed to have her own problems and be weighted down with many things, peculiar to her. The boy had no one else with whom to turn to. He was alone. He had no friends. And I felt that this boy needed looking after. His father had died about 2 months after the boy was born, so that he never really had a father figure, and I felt that a boy like this not only needed close supervision, but that he also needed help in terms of what I thought was an emotional disturbance that he had, and which was later subsequently brought up by the psychiatric report, which said that this boy had passive-aggressive tendencies, that he had schizoid features, and that he really was a boy who was feeling a deep sense of isolation, a deep sense of rejection, and who really had a supposedly hostility towards father figures. I felt, and both the psychiatric study backed this up, that this boy should receive one or two things: probation plus ongoing treatment by a psychotherapist in a group setting, preferably by an adult person to whom he can relate as a father figure, or if this was not feasible, while he remained at home with his mother and went to school, that if this could not be done and the mother was not amenable to this treatment, or the boy, that he should be placed in an institution that would give him the psychiatric treatment and the therapy that he needed.
You didn't feel that perhaps the isolation of an institution would aggravate the condition?
No, I didn't, because the type of institution that we were asking for is someone similar like Berkshire Farms or Children's Village. Now, Children's Village is a group type of setting of cottages where they have a house mother and a house father and a collie dog, and they have a group of 15 boys or so per cottage, and there's the type of group work so that the boy would not be isolated. I was also aware that when he was sent to youth house for this 3-week study, that he had done rather well and he had liked it there. I felt that what he needed was to mix in with other young people of his age and to relate to adults. And this type of a setting, I felt, would be conducive to this kind of a treatment, plus the fact that he would be getting ongoing therapy by